So building further into the drivers of assurance. Now, the coming slides in this module bombards you with a large number of variables and nomenclature. It will add probably a lot of layers which have potential of creating a very complex matrix. Mind you, the aim is not to confuse you, but to help you ideate. Each one of you is unique in your current perception and understanding of the industry around you. You may pick different elements or a combination of a few or maybe all. This is good. The course intends to help you fire up ideas and bring into visible sight opportunities that have been on the table all along. Now, tracking supply chains of any complex product like a car or a phone is quite an interesting project. You may know that iPhones have been studied quite a lot, and here are some infographics from the internet. The image on the left shows various suppliers which build up the iPhone. These are three boards within the phone. As you can see, a very complex array of chips. These three images only list the suppliers of the chips alone. I am not getting into the details of how these chips come to be. The image on the right is only talking about the European companies who are supplying components of the iPhone. Mind you, if you go on the internet and search a little more, you will find a large list of suppliers and various infographics probably to describe where all are the components of the iPhone coming from. Here's another list. This image lists summaries of a country by country classification of all the part suppliers that contribute to the product. The idea of this exercise is to unpack the scale of the supply chain. It should be kept in mind that often a supplier is not a digital switch. It is a set of human beings working in a business entity who come together to a given goal. There are lots of ifs between cup and lip, as they say. So, add to the previous slide, I would like to bring forward some more factors for you to arrive at this heady mix of the drivers that bring about assurance business. We do know about globalization and how it provides a steady supply of new companies and businesses from different parts of the world who come up with their unique advantages and want to come across as another supplier of the same component, product, system, or service. The regulatory updates and changes across regions, countries can be imagined to be like a large chessboard where you need to watch out and be ready for the moves and changes. And of course, going back, the push and pull between the standards and innovation stays there and continues on and on. Coming back to the four aspects that we started with, which we see around us that drive the assurance industry across industries. Add to this, there are two more demand drivers for the assurance industry. These drivers, I call them regulatory drivers and supremacy drivers. One of them is driven by the needs and the other by wants. I am sure you know that the boundary between needs and wants have been shifting over decades and will continue to do so in the future. This shift cannot happen without standards, standardization, and of course, conformity assessment. Now, how many of you have returned a product that does not live up to its promise? It could be retail, e-tail, or a procurement done which does not stand to the promise. Whether we are defining rice or refrigerator performance, whether we are tracking the delivery time of an online order or the downtime of networks, we are always working towards creating boundaries and assessing repeatability. When investments lead to a seller being able to successfully fulfill a want, they are often aiming to set the bar higher for others to catch up. Then investments are aimed again to create and fulfill the demand that probably did not exist earlier and is now was perceived as a premium, but is now a norm. Of course, this drive is aimed at increasing profits and establishing supremacy. And after some time, this supremacy again becomes normal and wants get refined as needs. Understanding this is the key to the last two sessions of this series, which are aimed at helping professionals develop a better view of demand drivers of this industry, as well as for leaders working on ways to grow their tech business. Yes, there are patterns. If you look up the most regulated and least regulated products across different countries and different jurisdictions, you may see similarities, but many differences too, and gaps, and lagging overlaps too. Are these the tech industry opportunities? Should you know them well, what are they? Let us look closer at some examples, these two drivers, and look through the mechanics of how these two drivers could be structures. Who are the stakeholders involved? Can I end this with a task? One more. I would like you to enlist the top 3 products or services in your country or jurisdiction where the assurance industry makes business on the back of government regulation. What are the 3 products which are mandated by law? Often it's stuff like water, milk, several others, which are regulated by law, and the conformity assessment is a mandatory government requirement, also known as the regulatory driver. And add to this a list of 3 products or services where the assurance industry has business due to want of a premium or supremacy. So mind you, these are not ones which are backed by government regulations, but these are backed by some other driver. To know more, we will move to the next sections, but at this stage, I would like you to come up with your thoughts and your current understanding of regulatory drivers and supremacy drivers.